This is being live streamed. This is being live streamed.
Do you think it's being live streamed?
I think it's being live streamed. This do link. And we'll throw that there and we'll say okay. I am ready when you are. Hello and welcome to the Warrior House podcast, where Warrior Pride lives. I'm your host, Ryan Reingart, joined by my co-host, Mike Sangster. Thank you for joining us on episode 124 of the Warrior House podcast. We're back, Sangster. We got out of
We are
town.
back. Yes, you're welcome, state of Michigan. We brought in some lovely weather for about 1.5 days. So
As we came back from gloomy, kind of drizzly Texas weather, which was not what I was advertised. But here we are. We're back. It's sunny. It was sunny. Now it's rainy. So we brought that back. We brought it all back.
yeah, but it is still unfortunately March in Michigan. We got a little more daylight now. Uh, but some little bit of news came out in the GLIAC world from the Big Rapids Daily News. It looks like Fair State is looking to begin fundraising to build a new indoor field house and a track facility, kind of similar to what Saginaw Valley and Grand Valley have. Uh, Biggest thing right now is that they don't really have an actual date when they want to get this started on. They want to do this all by fundraising. It's going to cost roughly $30 million for the first phase. They're not going to start groundbreaking until, quote, once the fundraising is secured for phase one. So that's a little vague enough that you can kind of get around like, oh, you don't need to have $30 million in cash right now. But that's a little vague that they're probably not going to get this started right away, but they're probably not going to wait too long either. So I guess that's really cool if they want to, if they're able to get this all built with all donation money. It says they've got about like 600,000 right now. So you probably gonna be waiting a little while, but obviously Ferris has some capacity to recruit. There are a lot of dedicated alums out there that certainly they're looking to be chomping at the bit to get Ferris something that takes them to the next level.
Yeah, and I mean at this point, it's like Trinidad Shambles puts out an Instagram post or something or shares something like they might get there extremely quick, but yeah, they might be waiting a while. But I mean, it's a valuable thing, I will say, as we've seen with the ability to have indoor facilities that can host track and field events or, football, what do you call it? Like football events during the winter time, training camps, there you go. Anything
Yeah.
like that. Just a lot of those types of events. There's a lot of value in that type of facility. And we don't have to talk too much about Fair State's football program. It's good. And this
Yeah.
just is another really valuable asset for them, I would say.
Yeah, really good in spite of definitely not having the best football facilities in D1, but no doubt they're the best team. Did I say D1? Not having the best
D2.
facilities in D2 in the
Yeah.
conference even. Um, but still no doubt having the best program in Division 2. You know, again, I've always said this, I understand 100% why Grand Valley fans despise Ferris State, especially Ferris State football. When you go to the two schools, it's not even close. It's not even close to Wayne State in certain aspects um, of it. But I think Wayne State has a little better scoreboard now, but is what it is. This at this point, this would make Wayne State, Michigan Tech, Davenport, and Roosevelt the only other football schools without an indoor facility. Of those, I think Davenport could probably build one quickest if they had the wherewithal and the cash to do it. There's a lot of land where they can go. Wayne State has a little bit harder of a time. There's not a lot of space left in that athletics portions of campus. Certainly, there's spots around the city of Detroit if you could work with them to, you know, make it a public facility somewhere like in a park, find some vacant land, but probably on campus, it's getting really difficult nowadays.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, cool thing. I mean, we know this the Wayne State Athletics campus is continuing to grow. They continue to invest in it, and it seems like Ferris is doing the same thing. They're doing a lot of work around Top Taggart Field,
Yep.
adding a dorm over there.
I
For
still
some
don't
reason,
understand that one.
I don't understand it either. And then, of course, now adding another field, so or a facility. I'm sorry. So, I mean, just they're building up a lot of stuff over there on that campus, and it'd be interesting to see it next time we make it out there what it all looks like. So.
Yep.
Um, with that, Sangster, we're going to take a quick look back. And by quick, I mean a pretty timely look back because it's going to take a little bit to get through all of this. We are saying goodbye to a sport at some point, but not yet. We're going to start out Wayne State women's basketball team. They were in action for the GLIAC basketball tournament back on Wednesday. We were home taking on Roosevelt. And this was the 2 seed versus 7 seed game. Wayne State wins this one by a final score of 75-56. Admittedly, it was a long shot for Roosevelt in this one, coming to Wayne State and trying to win this one after this, below okay season that they had. And Wayne State are basically we gave enough. We gave a little bit of room in this one because we didn't have a fantastic shooting game, but Roosevelt had a very very bad day. I mean, at the end of the day, McKenna Ferguson, Taylor Thompson, Gabby Luchka, and Lexi Boyke all get into the double digits. Simple enough. We're in postseason now, which is win the game, move on to the next game. That's really what it comes down to. Could If you shot 10% from three, whatever. Like you moved on, you got to the next round. And that's kind of what I felt about this game. You had to this is when you felt like you could win, or felt like you should win on your home court, go on to the next one.
Yeah, certainly Roosevelt made this a game in the first quarter. I remember briefly tuning in on that first quarter. I'm like, guys, gotta shut this off. It's getting a little much, especially when you're trying to get into vacation mode. But Wayne State shuts them down basically the rest of the game. Roosevelt had a better fourth quarter, but again, to survive and advance, you still beat them by 19 points. Hey, you won the game. See what happens uh, with whoever Grand Valley played, Lake Superior State. Unfortunately, Grand Valley ended up winning that game, so Wayne State would have to go on the road to Grand Valley to face Ferris State. And unfortunately, Wayne State ends up dropping this one in a barn burner, 104-86.
Yeah, it's I mean when you see 104 points put up, especially in this situation where you have, the number 2 and number 3 seed in maybe the best conference in D2 for women's basketball. I mean, it's hard to argue at this point when you have Fair State, Wayne State, Grand Valley, and they're like, it's a very good conference. When you see 104 points put up, you're like, holy smokes, what happened? Well, it's really hard to beat a team that's just shooting the lights out. And Fair State shot the lights out in this one, 59% from the field, 54% from three on 37 attempts. So if you're keeping score there, I believe that makes it 19 or 20 made
20,
three-pointers in this one. What's that?
20.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's 60 points right there. And by the way, if you want to figure out how all the big scoring happens, Bam Adebayo yesterday putting up 83. You get a player that's just absolutely on it. It's very hard to beat. So, and admittedly, like Wayne State did have a very decent offensive showing in this one. It was you put up 86 points against a very good Ferris State team. What are you going to do there? Hard to beat, like I said. But Gabby Luchka, Jason Tubergen, Taylor Thompson, and McKenna Ferguson all get into double digits. Gabby does get a double double in this one, and as good as Ferris State shot, which they did shoot very good, as I just mentioned, Wayne State still out rebounded Ferris State, and for you, usually teams get more defensive rebounds than offensive rebounds. That's just by the way of how basketball games work out normally. So when you get a team that made as many shots as Ferris State, the fact that we were still able to out rebound Ferris State means we put ourselves in a very good situation to at least stay in the game and give ourselves more opportunities without letting Ferris State get second chance points. But a bummer in this one. I can't say I really followed too closely to know whether we gave Ferris State open shots all the time or just were they really just kind of like one of our friends turning around backwards blindfolded and just sinking shots. I don't know how it all worked out, but 104 points. I can't be mad we didn't walk away with a win in that one.
Yeah, if there's anything to be said in this one, it's that first quarter. Ferris State gets up 30-15. That's going to be a tough ask to recover from it. And even in the later quarters, Wayne State played much better. 20-19 Ferris, 21-25 Wayne State, 33-27 Ferris State. So, Wayne State certainly had the comeback going on for them in that third and fourth quarter. Uh, just in that fourth quarter, Ferris continued to shoot the lights out of the gym here at Allendale. Looking at that first and that fourth quarter, Ferris State was 11 for 19 and 5 for 8 from the three-point line. In the fourth quarter, they were 13 for 16, 7 for 9 from the three-point line. They just kept draining threes in the fourth quarter, and they basically all went down for them. If you were going to say that, Ferris is going to try to drain nine three-pointers, they tried to drain nine three-pointers in the third quarter, and they made three of them. So there's an extra, what, four right there. That's an extra 12 points. Yeah, Wayne State lost by math 18. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still some math to be done there. Still, you got to make up for that first quarter. But if Ferris has a normal first quarter and a normal fourth quarter, Wayne State probably comes out of here with a win. Unfortunately, it doesn't go that way. 3-point shot, when you compare it to Ferris, just wasn't happening in this particular game.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to get mad about this one because we played Ferris twice this season. We split with them when we get into the tournament. It's postseason. You get a team that's hot, hard to beat. I believe Grand Valley ended up going on to win
Yeah.
the GLIAC tournament in this one. I don't know what the final score of that one was. Doesn't really matter to me. But we're not done talking about this team because spoiler alert, they are getting into the NCAA tournament, and we'll talk about that here in the second half. But really quick, a team that we do have to unfortunately say goodbye to for the season is the Wayne State men's basketball team. Starting back on Wednesday, they had to head out to Allendale to take on Grand Valley, and Grand Valley won by 81-67. It was a very decent shooting day by Grand Valley. I mean, statistically, they were pretty good. I mean, they were a little bit above average from what I recall seeing, and Wayne State was slightly below average. Wayne State ends up shooting 42% from the field in this game, where they averaged 45% on the season, and they shot up just over 29% from the three-point, where they averaged 32 on the season, and that's from the GLIAC season specifically. So, some rough shooting. I don't know if that necessarily makes up your 14 points. If you average this one out to like what the season averages are, maybe Wayne State is, we're a lot closer in this one. Something I was very happy to see though is Wayne State did out rebound Grand Valley in this game, but we did have more turnovers. I believe Wayne State had 12 turnovers to Grand Valley's 6. And that's really all there is to say on this one. And I will say the story of this season is, while there were some exciting times, it was definitely a little bit of an upsetting season. And I take a lot of things into consideration that, yeah, there was a lot of turnover. We lost 3 guards. We've talked about it all season. Like that's a hard thing to come back from, 3 starting guards nonetheless. And this team was so close to being competitive, but we just couldn't put everything together on a consistent basis. Where, we've seen it where some of our teams would go really, really cold for an entire game, shooting less than 10% from the three-pointer, right around 10%. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's, here's a really good game, and then getting out rebounded all the time. I don't think I have to keep mentioning that, but and then finally the last one of the stats that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Sangster, was what makes a GLIAC champion, and it is generally they have good defenses. They don't. They're top 3 defense in the conference. In this case, our defense allowed a very, very high shooting percentage throughout the GLIAC season. I want to say we were ninth, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to shooting percentages. But that doesn't bode well. I mean, you're trying to rely on your offense now, which again, as I mentioned, the turnover there, the new faces coming in, Jotham Nowicki, my guy, but like it's still a completely new team who's trying to put together an offense that could compete while also playing defense, but also, giving up a high shooting percentage to opposing teams. Definitely a bummer of a season. And I feel bad saying like, I don't know how far I expected them to go in this GLIAC tournament. I will say it's not too shocking to me to see a first round exit in the GLIAC tournament. I definitely know that it was a long shot to see them get into the NCAA tournament though. But nonetheless, again, I want to reiterate, definitely some exciting times throughout this season. And it makes me feel good about maybe what the next season holds, depending on what happens with transferring and, incoming players.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's another year incredibly similar to last year and maybe even the past one where, you're right around that 500 mark. Uh, Definitely in conference play, just under it overall. Uh, Again, just like it was the last year and the previous 2 years, different cast of characters, a little bit different basketball. At the end, it's the same result. Uh, if there is something that I think did Wayne State in this particular game, it's another one of those games where Wayne State had a not so great start, but then they were somehow able to at least make the score a lot closer than it would have been in the second quarter. They get down 47-23 in the first half of the game. Second half, they outscore Grand Valley 44-34. So it just seems to be another one of those Wayne State games where something isn't quite right in the start. And certainly halftime adjustment worked out, but not getting out to that fast start, or on the other hand, allowing Grand Valley to get on their fast start. Uh, did them here, did them in here also with turnovers. Like you said, Wayne State had 12 turnovers. Grand Valley scored 15 points off of those. So that's some of your margin of victory right there too. So certainly Grand Valley was doing a lot on defense to get the ball away from Wayne State. Wayne State not doing their part. In the end of the day, Wayne State this year, as the team is constructed, was probably built to be a defensive oriented team, which is fine, except it didn't quite play out, and they didn't have the offense per se to make up for it.
Yeah.
And then looking at, you were mentioning some of the stats here. A lot of them, Wayne State falls right smack in the middle of the conference, which, yeah, that kind of lines up with where they ended up in the standings wise. At least as far as offensive and defensive points are uh, number 6 offense and number 5 defense by points. When you get into actual percentages, Wayne State is actually, as a team, their field goal percentage is third best. Opponent field goal percentage, yeah, in conference play, you're looking at 10th right there. So that's one of the biggest things. Uh, and then the team 3-point percentage, not great, 10 out of 11. Opponent 3-point percentage, 10 out of 11. So if there was something, it's that Wayne State, they managed to keep the point differentials kind of right where you wanted them to be in a lot of games, but they, at the end of the day, especially coming to tournament time, not having the horses or anything to do offensively, I think that's what did them in the season.
Yeah, I would agree. So again, I mean, not to downplay the fact that there were some exciting times. I mean, this season was very, very cool. We had some new faces coming in. We really started to latch on to some of these guys that again, hopefully are going to be around next season, and this team can continue to get better. They have the size, they have the skill. I personally think they have the coaching to be a good team. It's, can we get a little consistency for a bit and start to step up a little bit? We'll have to see what happens. But again, that does close out the Wayne State men's basketball team. And so we'll move on really quick here. I want to talk about softball and baseball really quick here, Sangster. Softball, they were supposed to be home on Saturday for a doubleheader against Oakland. Gets rescheduled to Monday, I assume, because it rained. And so on Monday in game one, Oakland wins that one by a final score of 2-0. Sydney Long pitched the whole game in this one and only gave up 2 runs. I mean, it's kind of hard to blame the pitching and defense. You've generally, in my opinion, would feel good only giving up 2 runs in collegiate softball, but just, the Wayne State offense was not really able to make a whole lot happen in this one. And then over in game two, Oakland was able to win that one by a final score of 6-2. And I mean, similar story here. Wayne State was only able to get 4 hits together. Unfortunately, they weren't home runs. And even if they were, it still wouldn't have been enough compared to 12 by Oakland. So Oakland's bats were just showing up again. Oakland's a D1 team. But when you look at that, you look at a player like Sydney Long out there pitching all that, gives up really nothing. I mean, she did everything. The defense behind her did everything that you'd expect to do to be able to come out there and say, offense, just, go get a couple of runs together, get a couple on base, get them around, whatever. Maybe we'll get a win. Maybe we'll get a split here. Didn't quite happen, but it's hard to feel bad about this one. Yeah, you'd like a split, but being that you were able to compete and were really very close to being able to get a win in at least one of those games does bode well again for a team that's continuing to improve over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, and it's exactly what I said last week, that is the beauty of playing a Division 1 team in an exhibition, is that, hey, when you lose, yeah, it sucks you lost. They're a D1 team. Did you play hard? Was it close? Yes, okay, awesome. When you win, then you can flip that and say, "Oh yeah, we beat a D1 team. That's awesome. Let's go." Didn't happen that way, but still, two very competitive games by Wayne State against Oakland. On the baseball side of things, they were down at the Russ Matt Invitational in Davenport, Florida. And they're still there as we're recording right now. They just wrapped up today's game earlier today. But on Monday, they were facing Minnesota State Mankato. Wayne State wins that one 5-2. Story of the game here, Drew Hill is just casually lighting up Minnesota State Mankado's pitchers. He got 3 hits and 4 RBIs. Also, Will Lowry had an outstanding pitching performance, again, only giving up 2 runs in this one. Tuesday against St. Cloud State. For the record, there is no St. Cloud in the Catholic Church. It's actually Seclus, which is a province in France. It was Napoleon's favorite town, I believe. Wayne State ends up winning this one 6-5 in 15 innings, which is basically 2 games of baseball right there. Uh, Hopefully, that young college adrenaline can carry this team through the rest of the week, and it certainly did. Drew Hill, though, once again shows up, 3 hits, 2 RBIs, gets a walk. Bullpen pitchers went multiple innings in this one because, again, there's still a lot of games to be played here. Got to save some arms for the rest of the stretch. And then today against Winona State, Wayne State wins this one 6-2. Easton Arendt had 2 hits, 1 RBI, and 1 home run, and also a very good pitching outing by Gavin Nash. He after the whole bullpen basically got a workout yesterday. He had 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and 11 strikeouts. So really good stuff from this baseball team. We'll be naming off some more games they'll be playing in the second half of the episode.
Yeah, I mean that just to reiterate that pitching performance today again, March 11th against Winona State by Easton was exactly what you need. Anytime you go deep, and I think we had 6 pitchers out of the bullpen in that Tuesday game against St. Cloud State. You just really hope that your pitcher can go deep and kind of save your arms until, the following day, give them a little bit of a break to come back out. Then, like you said, yeah, I mean, you got some young guys out there. Hopefully 15 innings does not wear on them too much. They can come back out and at least, be able to show up, and lo and behold, they got a win. So, I mean, really, really fantastic stuff there. This baseball team, we'll talk about their ranking here in the second half, but they're doing some impressive stuff. The fencing team, NCAA Midwest Regionals, were happening over in Cleveland, Ohio, just on the other side of Lake Erie. This was back on Sunday, March 8th. Starting out on the women's side, Reka Galfalvi goes 3-2 in epee. Selma Abdrabo goes 3-8. Ludovica Mancini went 10-6 in the foil. Annabella Arquero Gonzalez goes 10-7. Over on the men's side, Ayad Maroof ends up going 10-6 in saber. Mahmoud El Sayed goes 9-1 in epee. Shab Dinkins goes 4-6 in epee as well. So if we're reading it correctly, Sixty, because we're not going to be talking about fencing here in the second half, Salma Abdrabo, Reka Galfalvi, Ludovica Mancini, and Annabella Aquera Gonzalez have been invited to nationals. I
Yep.
don't exactly know why Ayad Maroof and Mahmoud El Sayed are not included on that, because a very, very good winning record like that, specifically from Mahmoud, but also Ayad, is very interesting to me. I have to imagine it just has to do with some scoring adjustments that have been made for collegiate fencing this season, or just because of eligibility with some international competition. I believe that maybe Mahmoud might fall into that. I don't know for sure, but it definitely smells a little bit fishy to me that for some reason Mahmoud has not been invited to nationals, because he would go there and smoke everybody and probably come back with a medal. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem at this time like he's been invited to that. But nonetheless, not to downplay it whatsoever. Fantastic stuff on the women's fencing side to have four of our fencers head on out to nationals in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yep, and still a good showing by the men in the Midwest Regional, but unfortunately, it looks like their season in NCAA play is done. Obviously, some more guys will be competing, basically across the world in different competitions as well. Looking at the swim and dives, right now the NCAA Nationals in Evansville, Indiana, are going on right now. The women had sent Ariana Hugh, Alicia Viaches to the diving prelims. Alicia did advance past the prelims. Unfortunately, Ariana does not, so it looks like her weekend is done. The men also sent Max Wasiniak and John Martin to the diving prelims, and both those guys made it past.
Yeah, and it seems like if I'm reading the schedule correctly, tonight again, March 11th, the diving finals will be happening. So at this time, I don't know what ended up happening. I do know for sure that Max Wasiniak was first in diving prelim, so things could be bode well for him as we see what comes up here. Hopefully, we're talking some good things here next time we talk, and maybe before the end of this episode, we might have some stuff on that. So maybe we'll come back to swim and dive to kind of close out at least some of the stuff that has happened today on Wednesday. And then we have a fun one here. The men's golf team was over in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. This was the Ohio Dominican Pawleys Island Beach Bash. Again, sounds fantastic. Wish we could be there. I bet it didn't rain there. Wayne State lit up round one, beating every other team by double digits. I mean, so again, the collection of scoring golfers for Wayne State, total them up well over 10 strokes ahead of the second place team. Really cool stuff to see. The round two was definitely a little bit scarier. I think we were the third place team in round two. But nonetheless, we were perfectly fine. I mean, the team was able to close it out, end up getting the win here. Really, it feels really good right out of the bat to just go out and get a win to start your, spring, winter, spring season, whatever.
Yep.
Individually speaking, Josh Lehner was the best golfer in this entire tournament for the field, not just for Wayne State, but for the entire field. He was first place. Luke Maher, Troy Chapman, and Will Pollock tie for seventh place individually. And then not too far behind that was Andrew Daly. So, I mean, a lot of that bodes well for what this team is going to have going forward. And I remember I checked in on round one, probably about halfway, maybe a little over halfway through, and I just saw that we were so far ahead of the rest of the field. And I was like, we might have a team of the spring right here. We'll see what happens. It's a little early, but what a fantastic way to just kick off this the season for this men's golf team.
Yeah, really big stuff from them. A huge win. Having being able to say you have, a golfer win an actual event, huge stuff. And I think we pointed it out that you're in a good position to win a lot of these golf events if you can have, at least a golfer in the top three, and then have the rest of your guys, obviously as close to that as possible. But if they can land somewhere within that top 10 to top 15, as many of those guys as you can get in that upper tier of the entire field, you're in a really good position to win a lot of golf matches in college golf right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So with all that, there's one final event, Sangster, and kind of similar to what you were just talking about. If you can rely on, three, four, at least three of your, athletes to perform at a high level, make it competitive, you feel good about the rest of the team. If that doesn't explain this Wayne State men's tennis team right now, again, we're going to talk about their ranking here in the second half, but they fit that bill so perfectly. Earlier on today, they were taking on St. Thomas Aquinas, who came in with a 6-1 overall record. Wayne State gets the doubles point in this one. George Day, Louis Klaus, Thomas Mathis, Benjamin Hill all win their singles events. It doesn't matter what happens outside of that. You just got yourself 5 points. You're going to win every single collegiate tennis match ever. Like there's just, that's just it. They've gotten so consistent at this point that it just feels like that's kind of what they do. St. Thomas Aquinas does win the other two, the number 5 and number 6 singles events, but just as you were explaining that thing about golf, it feels like tennis is also a very, very good representation of that, specifically this men's tennis team that consistently, multiple tennis matches in a row, has been able to do exactly that.
Yeah, and to top it all off, Wayne State ends up winning the doubles point as well. Uh, Actually, they won all of the matches that they did as doubles matches. So really good stuff from this team. St. Thomas Aquinas is another Division two school out of Spark Hill, New York. Uh, they're not actually playing the Saint. He died a long time ago. This is a college, but still really good stuff from these guys. Again, a good foundation for the rest of the season, and I think we'll be talking about them a little bit later on.
Yep, absolutely. So again, in the second half, we'll see if we can pull up some stuff that's going on with swim and dive. But with that, we do have a new sport that's entering the chat in the second half. So we will take a quick break and we'll be right back. Where is women's swim and dive? There we go. What do we got? What's today? Where am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Ooh.
Spirits? That you? A ghost just opened my garage door. Give me a second.
Uh-oh. I wish you well. I believe I have final results for not diving yet. Oh, just the men's 1 meter diving finals. That is not done yet. But I do have the 1,000 meters are doesn't say that those are finals though. But I don't know where the 1,000 meter final would be otherwise. Okay, maybe it's not worth. Yeah, we'll wait till it's official. Nothing yet.
Good doke.
Cool. Alrighty, I am ready when you are.
Let's do it.
And we're back. Starting out, new sport is here for a little bit of time, not too long. The Wayne State volleyball team, believe it or not, is back for their spring season. And they are starting out on Saturday at 2 p.m., taking on Saginaw Valley State, quite literally, according to the Wayne State Athletic site. This is happening at Mort Harris. So I don't know what's going on over at Mathi, but I if you can find the last volleyball match, maybe it was last spring season, that happened at Mort Harris, I would be shocked because I'm sure it's been a little while. Um, but
I think back in our day, they had fencing matches at Mort Harris,
that sounds right.
and I think they moved them since to Mathi. There was also that weird time where like the floor was getting refinished but not replaced at Mathi. It was an odd time,
Yeah.
but it was
Um,
getting it's very unclear because I have a piece of the Mathi floor mounted on a plaque. So
what were you doing?
I
So anyway, the
yeah,
Wayne State the spring volleyball season is very short. I'm pretty sure there's 4 games. It's just get
it's
some of your
exhibition.
it's exhibition. You get some of the younger players out there. Maybe you can bring out some new players, incoming freshmen or whatever. They can watch, experience the team firsthand, kind of figure some things out. Don't know for sure, but it is a very, very. I'm sure it's a very good thing for this volleyball team to get a little bit of action minus some of your seniors that have moved on. So good stuff there. And then really quickly here, because we did look up during intermission, I don't really have anything official to report at this time around swim and dive nationals, at least not anything new that has been officially, a medal event quite yet. So we'll save all of that for next week, talk about it then, make sure we carve out a good amount of time to talk about all of our athletes that have been that went to nationals for swimming and dive. So just throwing all that out there. All right, Sangster baseball. We're going to get right into it. This Wayne State baseball team is 13-2 overall because they're fantastic. As of today, they are number 16 by the NCBWA. Don't remember what that stands for, but I definitely
National
wrote it down.
it rolls right off the tongue. National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association.
I absolutely love it. So they're still continuing on the Russ Matt Invitational down in Florida. And tomorrow, March 12th, on Thursday, they're taking on Minnesota Duluth of the NSIC, the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference, as well as Friday, Northern State, also of the NSIC. And then finally, on Saturday, the baseball team finishes out their Florida trip taking on California, Pennsylvania. And Sangster's going to give you a history lesson on this one. of the PSAC. So that's going to close out the Russ Matt Invitational for Wayne State.
Uh, Trying to remember what this one was about, but I do remember way back in the day. I think they came to the Math Eye for like a basketball game or something, and we had to be explained that they weren't actually from California. But I think it has to do with the California Native American tribe that was in Pennsylvania, is why it was named after that. But best news, it is time for Take Me Out to the Ballpark because Wednesday, March 18th, it is the home opener versus Ohio Dominican. This one will probably be wrapped up by the time we start recording, but hey, awesome stuff. If you can make it out, it's going to be great. Unfortunately, Wayne State has a habit of, because they don't have lights, doing these games on weekdays during the workday when we have to work. But if you're a student, you probably have a break during your class. What else are you doing? It's free. Cross the lodge, not at the pedestrian bridge. Go down Warren, walk a little bit, go see a baseball game. Awesome stuff happening at Wayne State. I think there's going to be food trucks too.
That would be sweet. I mean, the unfortunate thing is I definitely just looked up the weather. I'm not going to explain it on the podcast because I don't need to throw that out there. Go look at the weather when you want to. It's boys at March baseball. So really good stuff here. Again, I mean, I want to reiterate that is a number 16 ranking for this Wayne State baseball team. They're off to a very, very good start. Last week they were only receiving votes. So to be able to jump up roughly 11 or 12 positions in the rankings speaks volumes of what this team is doing. And if they can continue on what they're doing, knock on wood, it will not be long before we have a top 10 ranked team here at Wayne State. And we'll talk about some top 10 rankings here in a minute. But the Wayne State women's tennis team is also in action this coming week. They're currently number 41 ranked by the ITA, sitting at 3-1 overall, as well as 1-0 in the conference. I believe they took on Saginaw Valley at some point, if I remember correctly. They got a little bit of a gauntlet of a schedule coming up because they're heading down to Florida to take on the Florida tennis teams. I'll kind of explain in that way. On Thursday, March 12th, they'll be taking on West Palm Beach. They'll be in West Palm Beach taking on Kaiser. Friday, they'll be taking on number 33 ranked Flagler. Sunday, they'll be taking on number 15 ranked Nova Southeastern. And then finally on Monday, as if all that schedule wasn't easy enough, they'll be taking on number 3 ranked Barry. And this is something both of our tennis teams do. We'll talk about the men's tennis team kind of in a similar fashion here in just a minute. They generally head on down to Florida and take on these Florida teams. 1, get a little outdoor action. 2, take on some high quality teams. 3, probably just get out of town. Go bind as a team. Get to know each other a little bit more. Even though this women's tennis team, I'm sure, knows each other very well. They've been around for quite some time at this point, but it's definitely a tough schedule for them. But always a fun thing to follow along as they get to head on and take on some of these good teams.
Yeah, no doubt. And on the men's side, it's not really any easier. Right now, they're ranked on number 4 by the ITA. They are 7-1, have not started conference play yet. And on Thursday, they'll be facing number 5, Flagler. Just say that 5 times fast. Saturday, they'll be playing Florida Southern. Sunday, they'll be playing number 41, Embry-Riddle. Tuesday against number 20, Rollins. And then finally, next Wednesday, March 18th, against number 16, St. Leo. So another loaded baked potato. Teams that Wayne State is pretty familiar with when it comes with these high-ranking teams. Often they're facing them in the ITA Cups or within the NCAA regionals and even nationals. So awesome stuff from them. I am going to make a correction because I don't want to get canceled on baseball. So the California University of Pennsylvania is actually named because it's in California, Pennsylvania. It was apparently founded alongside the California Gold Rush, and the team was named after the state to symbolize growth and prosperity. So it doesn't have anything to do with what you're thinking it does. It's just California University of Pennsylvania. And it's actually changed names too. It's got even a crazier name now. It's Pennsylvania Western University, California, abbreviated as Penn West, California. Rolls right off the tongue.
I knew you were going to have some sort of information on that one, so that's pretty good stuff there. And as I've been looking at it, so I realized so what we were just talking about this Wayne State men's tennis team. I want to reiterate they are number 4 in the country right now.
Yeah.
4. Like they are a top 5 team. That is unbelievable. The rankings have moved around a little bit to the point where Flagler is actually number 3. Embry-Riddle is number 8. I think Rollins is still right around the 20 mark. I don't actually know exactly where they're sitting right now. Number 15, that's where it is. But I, off the top of my head, cannot remember the last time that this Wayne State men's tennis team was ranked that high. 4 seems like it might be the highest in recent memory. I don't recall them getting much higher than that, even when Cedric Drenth was around and all of them. So, um, all of that to say, this team is unbelievable. I mean, we've been looking at those top 4 individual singles, and as long as that continues on, we'll see what happens after this upcoming schedule. Again, a very, very tough away schedule where you're facing a lot of these teams on their home turf or at least in their home state. This
Yeah,
is going to be a very interesting team to follow.
yeah, no doubt about it. They've been, and it's been like that for the past few years now, certainly since we've started the podcast. And I think just continuing that tradition of excellence is definitely one of their number one goals. Next up, we've got the softball team. Right now, they are sitting at 4-5, just below 500. Haven't started uh, conference play yet, and they've got another loaded baked potato because they are at the Space Coast Games in Melbourne, Florida. And oh boy, they have a lot of them, a lot of double headers. Friday, they'll be playing Mercy and Thomas More. Saturday, Franklin Pierce and Ohio Dominican. Monday, versus Minnesota State Mankato and St. Michael's. And then finally on Tuesday, you got St. Anselm and Minnow State. That's a lot. A lot of games.
Yeah, it is. And I did look up the D2 softball rankings. I didn't see that any of our opponents are ranked. I just wanted to see kind of where they sat at this point. But yeah, I mean that's a lot. Not only are we traveling down there, as well as a lot of the teams that we're playing, because I know a number of them are also from the NSIC, the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. And of course, Ohio Dominican there. So there's a lot of teams that are traveling down there for this one. But yeah, that is a lot of games. So it definitely seems like one of those weekends where everybody's playing a lot. Really cool stuff. It sounds fantastic being able to play softball basically right on the Atlantic Ocean. And so probably a very cool experience for this team. And again, like just the way they've been performing this season, it seems like they've taken a step forward. And we're going to see, what kind of depth they have. How are they able to perform when you're looking at, what is that? The 8 games over 4 days. That's a busy schedule.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh,
I wasn't even looking at you. I was just checking to make sure you weren't frozen.
it's funny because I literally have 3 monitors, so I could see you here. I have everything everywhere, so that's so funny. But anyways, thanks. We're
You
on to the
see
last
my
one.
eyes just going like as I'm trying to read down the list of
Basically,
things.
I never know if you're actually looking at me or not. So the last sport is the big one. This Wayne State women's basketball team, 23-7 overall, 17-3 in conference play. Yes, we would have loved to see them. I think this team was good enough and should have, in my opinion, been able to get to the GLIAC tournament championship. It didn't end up happening. Turns out a team that shoots the ball really well knocks you out of it. Stinks, but that's over. We're on to the next one. And thankfully, there is a next one for this team. So they get another chance. They're into the NCAA tournament. Cue the March Madness theme song. Into the round of 64, Wayne State enters as the number 4 team in the Midwest, taking on Northern Michigan. Yeah, a familiar opponent. We didn't get the joy of having a new opponent, so it kind of just feels like, we're just playing another team. But Grand Valley is the number 1 team in the Midwest, and the way that it works out is those 8 teams all play their games at the number 1 overall seed. So Grand Valley's hosting all of these in Allendale, Michigan, or as I refer to as the Sticks of Grand Rapids. And this will be an interesting one. I mean, just the way that the bracket shapes out, I don't want to look too far ahead, but the next time we talk, we're going to be through all of these games, at least the Midwest region. You're looking at a lot of a familiar opponent schedule ahead, depending on what happens. So on one hand, all of these teams. And Saints will talk about Northern Michigan here in just a second, our history this season with them. On one hand, these teams, you've played them before, they're familiar. On the other hand, they've played you enough times, so they're kind of familiar with you, what your game is, and who can adapt and who can show up and play the better game. Is kind of what this one feels like as we get ready to take on the Northern Michigan Wildcats for a chance to advance to the round of 32 in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Big opportunity here. Obviously, you want to move on, move as far as you can into the NCAA tournament. Like you said, right now, Wayne State is the number 4 seed taking on number 5. Really interesting article that I reposted earlier from what's his name? Will Pruitt. He is, according to his Twitter, the actual commissioner of the GAC, the Great American Conference. He has a really nice infographic on how, he thinks that Division II basketball can be fixed. The biggest one here, I think, is having regional crossover. Uh, Ideally, you would like to see regionalization just go bye-bye. Um, to an extent, obviously, it has in Division I. Division II doesn't quite have even the NCAA funding, doesn't quite have the same budget for travel and things like that. But if there was some way that you could avoid having conference matchups in the first round, if there's any way that they could fix that, that's going to be big. There is going to be a new system coming out in 26, 27. I don't know if it's going to fix that particular issue. Uh, but it is, well, actually, it's going to be the NPI, the NCAA Power Index. There's going to be some subjectivity taken out of this process, which may or may not help a team like Wayne State. But if there was any way that they could fix this regionalization issue in a lot of sports, like again, you shouldn't be facing your conference opponents in the first round of an NCAA tournament. I digress. Northern Michigan is the opponent in front of us. Historically, going back way into the 80s when Wayne State really started playing women's basketball, Northern Michigan has had the series lead since '03. We'll call it modern history of Wayne State, i.e., the quickest one I can pull up on the computer. Wayne State right now is 18-17 historically. Uh, Kind of a weird one where the past since 2023, especially, Northern Michigan has kind of had Wayne State's number here, winning close-ish games. They're certainly not blowouts by any means, but this season was kind of an outlier where Wayne State gets trounced by 20 in one game and then goes ahead and wins by 21 in another. So really crazy stuff coming in, I think, for Wayne State right now. Just about to pull up some stats to see kind of how they compare, but really, this is another really good Northern Michigan team that, again, this season Wayne State has split, but you never know on a neutral site, field, court, whatever. Uh, we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, no doubt. And you talking about the Midwest, of course, as the 4-5 seed, winner goes on to take Grand Valley. Winner of that one goes to take on, the ultimate winner of those other four. So the
barring
route,
a major upset.
yes, barring a big time upset, which we'll definitely
It
see
could
what
happen.
happens. It absolutely could happen. It has happened before. Um, I mean that'll definitely be interesting. And I agree on the point about making it a little bit more of like a mid, I guess a quadrant, like a quarter of the country, being able to pull together some other teams and make it a little bit more exciting. So we're not basically facing GLIAC all the way through. Shout out GLIAC for having fantastic women's basketball teams, but it does make it to where it's like, okay, cool, it feels the same. Unless we're going out and playing Ashland, which we've done before in the NCAA tournament, it just kind of feels like it's the GLIAC tournament continued, which meh, isn't the most exciting thing in the world to me.
Right. Yeah. So I got some stats pulled up during conference play. Overall, Wayne State had the best scoring offense, averaging 79.8 points per game, just above Grand Valley at 79.5. Uh, Northern Michigan ranked number 4 at 73.5. Flip side of that is defensively, Northern Michigan had some suffocating defense this year. Second best, averaging 62.5 points per game. Wayne State averaging 68.1. So yeah, there is kind of a gap there. Still pretty close in between them. We'll see what they can do during the actual games. Team field goal percentage, Wayne State leads at 483, Northern Michigan at 418. Interestingly enough, Wayne State's opposing field goal percentage uh, is second best. Northern Michigan's is fifth best. 3-point shooting, Wayne State, as we've said before, still holds on to that uh, lead with the best 3-point shooting percentage at 38%. Northern Michigan coming in right behind them at 36%. Defensively, again, both teams are very close. Wayne State's number 4, Northern Michigan number 5. 3-point field goals made. Northern Michigan has a bit of an edge on Wayne State here, averaging 8.9 per game. Wayne State averaging 7.5. And last one I'm going to pull up. Let's do free throws. Free throws, Wayne State makes 77.4. Northern Michigan made 75.4. Wayne State gets to the line a lot more than Northern Michigan does. Wayne State got to the line 359 times this year. Northern Michigan went there 264. I totally said that was going to be the last one, but I've got more. Combined team rebounds. Wayne State had 777 rebounds in conference play. Okay, this could be interesting. Northern Michigan had 837. And we'll go last here with turnovers. Oh, turnover margin. Northern Michigan is third best at 2.2. Wayne State, and it's kind of expected. We know that Wayne State, the way they play basketball, has a tendency to give the ball away a lot, right at just minus 0.25. So that's kind of the breakdown. We've got pretty even teams that do things in certain aspects a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's interesting stats there, and as you were talking about the history throughout this season between Wayne State and Northern Michigan, it's an interesting one because they got us one time and we got them one time. So, yeah, best of luck to this team. I mean, it would be very exciting to see them at least make a little bit of a run through the Midwest Regional. We'll see how far they're able to get. And again, if we hadn't stated that this game is going to be happening on Friday, March 13th, 313 day. There you go. There's one for the
Oh man.
For the boys back home. That's us
And
for
Friday
the boys back home. And Friday the 13th. So yeah, interesting there. So best of luck to our Wayne State women's basketball team. Maybe we'll do like a live posting on X as the game's going on or something. We'll figure that out, so we'll make it an exciting time. And that's what we got. So basically, all of our teams, for the most part, a lot of the action's happening down in Florida for this Wayne State athletics department. A lot of those teams heading down there. One of the things I wanted to call out really quick, because it was called out in the men's tennis article that was posted recently about the upcoming matches. When Wayne State was ranked number 6 last week by the ITA, that was their highest ranking since the 2021 to 22 season, where they finished out the season as the number 5. We just mentioned that they're number 4. So this is the highest since I don't even know when. I don't know how to even go back farther than that, but It's been a while. And again, it's early on in the season. I don't want to get too hype up on the rankings, but it just goes to show where this team is at and where the Intercollegiate Tennis Association thinks this team is. So really good stuff there. With that, Sangster, that's what we got. A lot of action coming up. Good luck heading down to Florida. Good luck women's basketball heading west. Volleyball, have fun in exhibition time, and then swim and dive. If anybody who's still out there, good luck on the rest of the nationals there. So with that, we appreciate everybody listening in on episode 124 of the Warrior House podcast.
And remember, it's always a